Today we will be seeing about what is a metadata API and how to retrieve and deploy the components in a Salesforce Developer Edition or using a metadata API. Before we go ahead and understand the metadata API, let us understand what is an API. So API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it acts as a communication bridge between the mobile application and the backend system. How does it work? Let us understand with an example. We have an Indigo Airlines, and we have different vendors like Paytm, GoIbigo, which are booking tickets for Indigo Airlines. Now, as a user, a person tries to book a ticket of an Indigo airline using an Paytm application. So, what Indigo has priorly done is given an API key with the authentication key to Paytm. Now, as soon as a user requests to book a ticket from the Indigo Airlines, what Paytm will do, they will hit that API with the authentication key and will request to book a ticket. Now, this API in the middle will authenticate if the request is coming from the genuine vendor or not. It will first authenticate. If it is coming from a genuine vendor or partner, it will redirect that request to the servers of the Indigo. And once it is redirected, it will check if seat is vacant, and if it is vacant, it will book a ticket for the user who is trying to request to book a ticket, and the response will be sent that the ticket is booked for such and such user. Now suppose if the seat is not vacant, so it will also show the error message that the airline has been cancelled or the seat is vacant, seat is not vacant. So this is how an API works, and it acts as a middleware between a communication bridge between the mobile application and the backend system. Now, why it is necessary? It is necessary because Indigo Airlines cannot trust the Paytm vendor and cannot give a complete access to their database. So using the API, they will only expose the particular system which Paytm requires. That is, it only requires if the seat is vacant and the airline is when the airline is scheduled for a particular area. So all those things which are required, the Indigo Airlines will create a system and will give that particular access using the API to the Paytm or any third-party vendor which try to request and book tickets for the Indigo Airlines. So this happens with each and every system these days. If you are using Google Maps, if you are using any system, there comes the role of API. Now, this was a technical discussion about API and its working. So, in the layman language we can see with below example, like suppose you enter a restaurant and you try to order something from the menu. So, here is a waiter which will act as an API, and it will take your order if it is present in the menu, and it will give it to the kitchen. The chef will cook the order, and the processed food will be delivered to you by the waiter. Now here waiter acts as an API. It will take your order, it will authorize that order if it is valid, it is present in menu, and it will then deliver it to the chef. If it will be cooked, then it will be delivered to you. If suppose the raw material for that menu for the item you ordered is not present, then what the waiter will do, it will come back with the response that please order something else because the particular thing is not available right now. So this is how an API works. Here the API is considered to be as waiter. So in layman language, we can say that it acts as a communication bridge between the application and the backend system. Now, let us see what is a metadata API. So before understanding what is a metadata API, let us understand what is a metadata. So metadata is data about the data. Now, what is data about the data? So in layman language, we can see we have index or table of content in every book we read. So this table of content is the metadata about the data which is stored in the later pages of the book. Now here, for example, we have butterfly life cycle. It is present on the page number 3. So this table of content which says that this butterfly life cycle is present on page number 3 is the metadata about the butterfly life cycle, because it is showing that it is showing that this particular cycle is present on the page number 3. So this is the data about a data which is present on the page number 3. Now, coming to the technical terms, metadata is known as data about the data. Suppose, for example, we have different custom objects in Salesforce. We have classes. So the metadata, the schema of those things, is known as the metadata. Now, this metadata API works with the metadata type and the components. And the main purpose of the metadata API is to move the metadata between the Salesforce org during the development process. How? Suppose, for example, you created some of the classes, triggers, and the objects custom fields in a sandbox, and now you want to just upload, like you want to just move those metadata from your sandbox to the development or something like a production org. So you will use this metadata API. Like you can use different things also, but you can use metadata API too for that. Now we can use metadata API to deploy, retrieve, create, update, or delete customization information such as custom object definitions and the page layout. Now there are two methods which metadata API use broadly. It is a deploy and retrieve calls, and we can use these calls to deploy and retrieve the data. Now directly we will be jumping to the hands-on of what we will be doing. So to give you a gist, what we will be doing, we will be deploying and deleting components in the developer edition or using metadata API. And what we will be doing, I will explain you when I'll take you to the my developer edition org. So let me take you to my developer edition org. I have already logged in into my developer edition org. So I will be using Workbench for getting my package, and See, this is one thing you need to note, that to get the metadata, we need to have a package.xml file. Now, I have already created a package.xml file. So, I what in this file, I will be retrieving the metadata of an Apex class, which is named as auto number, and I will be retrieving the metadata of auto number field, which is created on the account object, and it is a custom field. So, this is the syntax of how we write a package.xml file. It will be having type, and in each type it will be having member and the component, like if it is from the Apex class, Apex trigger, or custom field. We can add multiple members. Suppose for example I need to add more custom fields, I can go ahead and add those custom fields here. So just for the example, I am retrieving these two things. So what I will be doing, I have written this package.xml, I'll save it somewhere. Yeah, so I have saved this package.xml. Now I'll go on the workbench, and since I have already logged into my developer edition, or the same, it is logged using the same. Workbench is also logged using the same. Now in this tab under migration, I will first retrieve the components. See, I have written what components I want to retrieve. Now to retrieve the components, I will be using workbench, and I will be choosing my file. Since I have chosen my package.xml which I created, I'll click on next, and I'll try to retrieve it. Now once it is retrieved, we will have this zip file ready. I'll download this zip file, and once I have downloaded this zip file, let me first move my zip file. Now see, this zip file will be containing a folder, and it contains the metadata of both the class auto number, this is the metadata, and we are having the metadata of the object. Okay, and this is the same package file which I created, and I have shown you in the Notepad++. Now what I will do, I will just extract this retrieved file here. Now I have got this unpackaged folder which contains the classes and object folder, and this will be having a class which I retrieved. It is the auto number, and I am having the object metadata also, which is the account, which is the field, because the custom field is of the object account, and this is the package. Now what I will be doing, I will make changes in this particular custom field. We have this account object, and you see that, suppose for example the required field is false, we will make it true. I'll show you it in the org also. See, I have saved it, and I'll show you in the org itself that since is this is required or not required. So under fields and relationship tab, we will be having this auto number, which I created priorly, and it is not required till now. That's why in the metadata file we have seen that in the required tag it was false. Now what we will be doing, we will be deploying the component using the workbench, and we'll make it as required. Number one thing. Number two, what I will be doing in the same package, once I will be deploying, I will be deleting this particular field, which is again an auto number, and the name is test to delete. So this is two thing. Again, I have a class which I have written. So I will be deleting that class also from my org, and that I will be doing in the same single operation. So this is an auto number class which I will be deleting. So this is a sample class just with an insert method I have written, and I have included the auto number field here. Now, since we see that I have just made some of the changes in the metadata, I have made the field as required. So I have set the value as true. I have saved it. Now, see, in using a workbench, what we can do this deploy as well as retrieve. Okay. So we see that we can deploy as well as retrieve the data. Now I have retrieved using the package, and I got this zip file which I have stored here. Now we have this same package. We have made changes to deploy in the object custom field. I'll keep the class as it is. I'll not make any changes in the class because it is just an example. But yeah, we can make changes. We can have multiple components. We can make changes in every component and can deploy. Now what I will be doing, I will be writing a destructive change.xml file. So what destructive change.xml file will contain all the components which I was saying I was trying to delete. I will be deleting using this metadata API. So this destructive.change. Now you will see I have written two destructive changes pre.xml and destructive changes post.xml. So what does it do? So if I write only destructive changes.xml, it will perform the deletion operation first, and then it will perform the deploying operation. Now, suppose there is a scenario in which we want to first delete something, then deploy something, and then again delete something. Suppose, for example, we have a class written with the custom field used for a particular object. Now, you know that we cannot delete a particular field since it is referenced in the class. So what we will do first, using this destructive change pre, as the word pre, we will be deleting a class, and then we will be making some changes in the field. After that, we can also delete using destructive changes post package.xml file. We will be deleting the object. So here in destructive changes pre.xml, what I have done is I have just included the apex class auto number, and it is the syntax how we write the destructive changes .xml file. We will include the members which we want to delete, and we will write the name, like if it is a apex class apex trigger, we can delete multiple components in a single file also. Now this is a particular thing which I have written for destructive changes pre. I'll quickly save it. So the name as written, I'll just put this in the unpackaged folder only. I will put this file. Again, the same I have written for destructive changes post.xml. So I just told you that test to delete is a custom object which I wanted to delete. So here I have written the member as custom. I have written a member as test to delete. It is for the account object. So I have written account, and the name is the custom field. So why I have created these two files, I am sure that it is clear, because something before deployment will be running. It will be destructive changes pre, and it will delete the apex class, number one. Number two, it will deploy something which I have just made it required, the auto number field, and again it will delete this particular custom field test to delete. And in the last, destructive changes post.xml will be utilized to delete this particular field of account object test to delete. So quickly I will be saving it also, and make sure that naming convention should be same. It should be destructive change post dot xml in the camel casing order, camel casing based on the camel casing rule, and it should be destructive changes pre dot xml. Now if you don't have anything to pre and to do post, you can just write all the fields in destructive changes dot xml. This is just for a scenario I am showing you that in real time these situations occur, so we can use it. Now I have this folder, the packaged one, which contains the metadata of object and the class. I have created changes in the object metadata, like the field of a particular account object, which is auto number. I have made it required, which was not required before when we just retrieve the data. We have destructive changes post. We have destructive changes pre. The pre, what we'll be doing, will be deleting an apex class, which I just showed you in the starting, the auto number class, and in the post, we in this destructive change post, what we have mentioned is to delete a particular field test to delete on the account object. Now these destructive changes post, destructive changes pre, these names are very sensitive. You need to write in the same way, that then only the metadata API will understand that we need to delete these things written in the file. Now quickly what I will be doing, I will just zip this file, because in Workbench we only upload the zipped file. So now what I will be doing, under the migration tab, I'll click on deploy. Once I click on the deploy, it will show me that choose a zip file you want to deploy. So I'll choose a zip file which I recently created in my folder deploy delete one, the unpackaged. And before I click on next, I'll explain you a few of the important checkbox. This check only, what it will do, if you will click on this checkbox, it will not deploy. It will just show you whether your operations are successful or not. It will show you the message that if the deployments will be made or not, everything is fine. So if you want to really deploy, you don't need to check this checkbox. Again, we have a purge on delete checkbox. If this is checked, it will bypass the recycle bin, and it will hard delete the components. Now here is an exception, that if you delete, if you click or not click this purge on delete checkbox, like if you select or deselect it, if a field you want to delete is a role of summary field, so it will not work automatically. It will be hard deleted. It will not go into the recycle bin. Again, we have this checkbox rollback on error, which, as the name suggests, will roll back if it's an error. So, and we can also run the test, like a local test or the tests in the or. So I'll click on next, because I need to show you after deploying and deleting the data. So it's showing me the warning that the metadata will be changed if you click on deploy. So before I click on deploy, I'll show you that we have this class created. We have this custom field on the account object, and we have another custom field on the account object which is not required, and we will deploy, make it required. We will make changes in the metadata. We will just delete this particular field using destructive changes post, that is after deployment it will be deleted, and before deployment this particular class will be deleted using destructive changes pre. Now I'll click on deploy. Let's see, it will show us the status. So we see that success true. Now the components have been the operations have been performed. For the class, it is showing that it is deleted true, and for the account dot object like auto number field, so it is changed. We'll check in the org also. Again, test to delete is another field, so it's saying that it is true, like the success is true, so it is deleted. Deleted is also true. So we'll again go and I'll refresh this page. We should not have any class. We should have an error message right now. Yeah, so this data is not available. So I'll again go to Apex classes and we'll see there would be no class within emote number. So we'll see no record. Let us again refresh this page, test to delete. So that too must not be present. Yeah, so it is showing that it is deleted. So you will not be having this particular field here. It was test, so it is not. It is deleted. So it will come in the deleted fields. If I click on deleted fields, so it will be there test to delete. Now again we have this auto number, so this auto number is present, so we'll see that if it is required, see this checkbox is checked, so it is required. So you see that in a single folder for the unmanaged unpackaged, we have just retrieved we have just deployed the component, we have just deleted the component, we have made changes in the metadata, and we have deleted two components. So this is how we use metadata API in Workbench for a particular thing. So that's all for this particular session. I just only wanted to brief regarding what is an API. You understood what is an API, what is a metadata API, how an API works, and what is the requirement of a particular API in the present scenario, and how we implement a type of API known as metadata API to deploy, retrieve the components in our Salesforce Developer Edition. So thank you. Stay tuned for such content.